The following presentation is a teaching by Avraham Emunah. In this video, I'll explore how the Torah becomes sweet through the wisdom of Kabbalah and the study of Torah Lishma. Stick with me through the end and let's learn how the Torah itself teaches us how to apply the wisdom of Kabbalah to our own life for the healing of humanity. Before we dive into the depths of this powerful passage from Exodus, it's important to understand the context in which it occurs. In Exodus 15, Israel has just witnessed one of the most miraculous events in its history, the splitting of the Red Sea. They have crossed the sea safely, and Pharaoh's army has been drowned in its waters. In response, Moses and the Israelites break into song, praising Hashem for the miraculous deliverance. The atmosphere is filled with joy and celebration. However, soon after this profound moment of salvation, the Israelites find themselves journeying through the wilderness. After 3 days without water, they come to a place called Marah, but the waters there are bitter, undrinkable. The people are thirsty and in their desperation begin to complain. Their joy from the miracle of the Red Sea quickly fades, and they express doubt and frustration. They cry out to Moses, questioning why Hashem has brought them into this wilderness to die of thirst. In response to their cries, Moses himself cries out to Hashem for help, and it is in this moment of spiritual and physical thirst, this moment of despair, that Hashem reveals to Moses the key to transforming the bitterness into sweetness. He shows Moses a tree, and Moses casts it into the waters, turning them sweet. This act, simple yet profound, holds deep spiritual significance and serves as a teaching that will guide Israel in the wilderness and beyond. Let us begin by quoting the passage from the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verses 25 to 27. "And Moses cried out to Hashem, and Hashem showed him a tree. He threw it into the waters, and the waters became sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he tested them. And he said, if you will diligently heed the voice of Hashem your God, and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians, for I am Hashem who heals you." Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters. This passage, nestled between the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea and the journey to Sinai, offers us a profound glimpse into the transformative power of divine wisdom, the very essence of Torah itself. It is within this context, where Israel has just tasted the bitterness of hardship and judgment, that Hashem provides the solution, a seemingly simple act of showing Moses a tree, which he then casts into the waters, turning them sweet. Now, at first glance, this event may seem like nothing more than a miraculous cure for the bitterness of the waters, but in reality it is a deep, mystical moment that reveals much more. The tree that Hashem shows to Moses, in the language of Kabbalah, represents the Sephirot, the divine emanations that form the spiritual structure of creation. The Sephirot are the tree of life, the very conduit through which Hashem's divine light flows into the world. This tree is not merely a physical object, but a symbol of the spiritual illumination that can transform the harsh and bitter judgments of the world into sweet and nourishing divine revelation. Consider the waters of Marah, the bitter waters that the Israelites encounter. These waters represent the harshness of judgment, the world as it appears to the unenlightened mind, a world filled with suffering, confusion, and suffering under the weight of divine decree. The simple, external reading of the Torah, without the light of Kabbalistic understanding, can often be experienced in much the same way. The Torah can seem harsh and rigid, its commandments sometimes appearing as a burden. In this state, the laws of the Torah may feel like judgment, like an oppressive set of rules to follow, demanding and seemingly devoid of the sweetness of divine connection. But then Hashem shows Moses the tree, and through the wisdom of the Sephirot, he reveals the divine secret. The tree is cast into the bitter waters, and they are transformed. The waters that were once bitter become sweet. This act is the spiritual equivalent of infusing the Torah with the light of Kabbalah. When Torah is studied through the lens of Kabbalah, it becomes purified. It is no longer just a set of legalistic rules and obligations, but a dynamic force that connects the soul to the divine. Through Kabbalah, we learn that Torah is not a distant set of commandments, but a living, breathing emanation of divine light. As we draw closer to the teachings of Kabbalah, we begin to perceive the Torah in its deeper essence. We no longer see it merely as a collection of stories and laws. Rather, we begin to understand it as the channel through which Hashem reveals his will to the world. The Torah, when viewed through the Kabbalistic lens, becomes sweet. This sweetness is not a superficial sweetness. It is the sweetness that comes from knowing that the Torah is not just about external observance. It is about connecting with Hashem. It is about purifying the soul and aligning oneself with the divine will. In Kabbalah, Torah is not seen merely as a book to be read. It is the source of divine wisdom that nourishes the soul and heals the heart. This sweetness is the divine light that enters the soul and illuminates the mind, showing us the true purpose of life, the true meaning behind our suffering, and the path to redemption. Just as the bitterness of the waters was transformed by the tree, the harshness of life, when seen through the wisdom of Torah, can be transformed into spiritual sweetness and light. This is the transformative power of Torah Lishma, the study of Torah for its own sake. When Torah is studied with the intention of drawing closer to Hashem, it ceases to be merely a legal code and becomes a spiritual experience. Torah Lishma is not about personal gain or acquiring knowledge for intellectual purposes. It is about purification. It's about drawing closer to Hashem and allowing the divine wisdom to permeate our being. It is this spiritual engagement with the Torah that makes it sweet, that allows it to nourish the soul and heal the wounds of the world. And here the symbolism of the 12 springs and the 70 date palms comes into play. The 12 springs represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Each tribe is an emanation of divine light, a channel for a specific aspect of Hashem's will. The 12 springs are the pure waters of Torah, flowing from the Sephirot, nourishing each tribe and by extension the entire nation of Israel. The 70 date palms, on the other hand, represent the 70 souls of Israel, the 70 nations of the world, and the fullness of the divine soul of Israel. These 70 palms feed divine wisdom to the collective soul of Israel, providing the spiritual nourishment necessary for the redemption of the world. The date palm is a symbol of uprightness and righteousness. In Jewish mysticism, the date palm is often compared to a righteous person, steadfast, enduring, and upright. The 70 date palms, therefore, are not only the channels of divine nourishment for Israel, but also representations of the righteous ones who provide the spiritual sustenance to the nation. These righteous souls are like palm trees, standing tall, feeding the divine wisdom to the entire collective soul of Israel. In this way, they help transform the world from a state of bitterness into a state of divine sweetness. It is this deeper engagement with Torah, the wisdom of Kabbalah, the study of Torah Lishma, the connection to the divine light, that turns the bitterness of life into sweetness. When we approach Torah in this way, it becomes a source of healing. No longer are we burdened by the harsh judgments of the world. Through the sweet waters of Torah, we begin to see the world with a different perspective. We understand that even hardship and suffering are part of the divine plan, and through this understanding, we are healed. The connection between Torah and divine light is not abstract. It is immediate and personal. When we study Torah through Kabbalah, we open ourselves to a direct connection with Hashem. We become vessels for His divine wisdom, and that wisdom flows into our souls, purifying us, illuminating us, and transforming us. Just as the bitter waters of Marah were healed by the tree, so too can our hearts and minds be healed by the study of Torah in its deepest, most profound sense. And so when we read the Torah, We must remember that it is not just a book of laws and stories. It is a living testament to the divine wisdom that sustains the world. When we approach it with the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we study it, Lishma, for the sake of drawing closer to Hashem, we experience the sweetness that Hashem intended for us. This sweetness is the ultimate healing, the healing of the soul, the healing of the world. In this way, the words of the Torah cease to be mere words. They become conduits of divine light, and through them we connect with the source of all creation. And when we do so, we find that the Torah is not harsh or rigid, but sweet and life-giving, illuminating our minds and hearts, guiding us back to the divine source from which we came. Thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of Avraham Eminer. The views expressed here are mine alone and are not meant to be an authoritative representation of any one religious tradition.